Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Lara, a clinical pharmacist specializing in functional medicine, as well as a certified yoga teacher and Reiki master. I run a truly integrative health coaching practice encompassing functional medicine lab testing, yoga and meditation, and a sprinkling of Reiki energy medicine. Join me here on Light Body Radio to break through your health plateau and come into alignment with your natural vitality. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Light Body Radio, and this is Wellness Illuminated, where I, your host, Dr. Lara May, brings you specific topics that I think are important or that have come up a lot with my clients that I think all of you could also benefit from. So today we're going to talk about the interconnectedness of our body. I get so many questions about, my head hurts, what could it be? Or I'm having this rash, what is that? And a lot of times I'll ask questions that have nothing to do with the specific organ part or part of the body that was asked about, because our body is one huge organism. And although we've been trained in Western medicine to compartmentalize and look at each organ system or system of the body individually, in truth, our body is one big organism, and we really do ourselves a disservice when we try to just, pinpoint out just the gut or just the liver or just the heart or just the kidneys, whatever it is that you're concerned about. So let's talk about a little bit how and why this is so important. So from the functional medicine perspective, we look at the whole body because everything is connected. I mean, just looking at yourself, you're not just, one kidney walking down the street, are you? No, your kidneys are inside of your body. They are connected to your bladder. They are connected to your vasculature. They're connected to your lymphatic system. So all of our entire body is connected. And this might seem like a little on the nose, like a little obvious, like, no shit, Sherlock, pardon my French, but it really is a different way of thinking and looking and evaluating. And so when we look at one issue, so whether it's high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood glucose, pre-diabetes, diabetes, any of those things, even if it's anxiety, depression, or, any other, what we would consider maybe a mental health issue, all of those things can be traced back to essentially one common theme, and that's inflammation somewhere in the body. And so our job as functional medicine practitioners is to really trace that back and find out where is the point of origin of that inflammation that is then causing the cascade, the downstream effects of the symptoms that you are coming to me as your practitioner, you're coming to me with, or whoever it is you're seeing. And so let's just start talking about the cell. So our cellular health really is the foundation of our well-being. So what does our cell membrane look like? Is it healthy? Is it is it shriveled? Is it brittle? Is it sort of like bent in weird shapes? And obviously we're not going to be able, especially, the layperson, and even myself, I don't keep a microscope in my office. That's not how I practice. But we are comprised of over 300 billion cells. I mean, trillions and trillions of cells it's sort of mind-boggling about how many cells makes up this organism that we call our human body. And our body is replacing over 300 billion cells every single day. So if you think about it, our body is constantly going through the cycle of death and rebirth. And so a lot of inflammation and where it comes from and how it functions and how it, presents in your body will really be determined by where do you hold your stress. A lot of people present stress as in their gut. So, like if they're nervous or anxious, they might feel nauseous, or they might have, frequent bowel movements, or maybe they're the type of person that when they get nervous, their bowel movements just stop altogether and they have chronic constipation. So, every one of us is a little different, and that's beautiful and amazing. And this is also why functional medicine is considered personalized medicine, because we look at that specific aspect. Like, how do you process your stress, your traumas, and where do you, or maybe you don't process at all, and maybe you hold it in your body. And if so, where are you holding it in your body? And is that correlating with where these signs and symptoms are showing up for you? So remember that, if you're showing up with a headache, then I want to know, how hydrated are you? How much water do you drink? How much electrolytes do you consume? Again, how are you holding stress in your body? Are your neck and shoulders like all tight and knotted up? Or maybe you're the type of person that holds it in your lower back. And so maybe, you're having lower back pain. So there's a lot that can go into it. And to sort of oversimplify it by just focusing on the one part of the body really does all of us a disservice, because there's also the piece of neurotransmitters. Well, most neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So now we're back at looking at your gut health. And even if you think you have what quote unquote normal bowel movements, or you wouldn't consider yourself to have any gut problems, what we really need to do is talk about the details of that. So how often do you eat? How do you feel before and after you eat? How often do you go to the bathroom, both, for urination and defecation? And what does that look like? The color, the texture, all of that's important. And it might be a little gross to talk about, but it's important because it gives us an idea of what is going on in your gut. And then, of course, we can take that next step and do full on different testing, stool testing, urine testing, different types of things to really figure out what's going on in the gut. How balanced or imbalanced is it? Maybe there's some aspects of it there that can be optimized, because it really, really, really does come down to balance, assessing inflammation, figuring out the root cause. And then once you start addressing that root cause, then you will see a whole cascade of things start to resolve. So maybe you have just generalized stiffness or body aches, you have an occasional headache, your sleep is inconsistent, or maybe it's consistently awful, meaning like you wake up in the middle of the night, or you have a hard time going to sleep, or you don't stay asleep, or you only get, 4 to 6 hours of sleep. So whatever that is. And all of this comes back to our cell health. If our cells aren't healthy and functioning properly, if they're not making the energy, the ATP, if our mitochondria aren't healthy and helping us make that energy in a good, clean way, then we're going to feel it in our body. And so it's really important for us to be in tune with what's going on in our body too. So cellular health, very important. And one of the easiest and most simple things you can do to support your cellular health is stay hydrated and eat the rainbow on your plate and get enough sleep. So those are 3 things. Stay hydrated. And when I say hydrated, I also mean with electrolytes too. Like, plain water is really important. Make sure it's clean water. Most municipalities treat their water with some type of chemicals to get the bacteria and other things out of it. So I suggest using some sort of filter to filter your water. And then also eating the rainbow. So making sure you're getting plenty of green, red, yellow, purple, blues on your plate throughout the day. So, and you can break this up, obviously, breakfast, lunch, dinner. and then getting enough sleep. And if you're having trouble falling asleep at night, maybe look at how you're consuming devices or like screen time before bed, or if you have a hard time maybe turning your brain off to go to sleep, maybe implementing a journaling practice at night can be really helpful for just getting those thoughts out of your head on paper and knowing that you can let them go. And these are things that take practice. So I don't expect you to implement everything all at once overnight and expect perfection, but be gentle with yourself and just start with one thing, maybe one thing for a whole week. And then if you're successful with that, then add on a second thing for the next week and then build on it from there. And before long, you'll notice and realize for yourself that you've created new habits and you've implemented some changes. And so from this perspective, let's now go into the mind-body connection piece, because this is a real thing and it has been confirmed by, peer-reviewed journals, and it is quote unquote science. For those that like to say, well, where's the science? It's not all woo-woo. And so we know that stress definitely has effect on our physical body. And whether it's the stress of our jobs, the stress of financial situations, maybe relationship stress, maybe you're the type of person that stretches yourself too thin and you're going. And so you're constantly pumping out cortisol. And so eventually, our body just can't keep up. And so whether this leads to adrenal fatigue or adrenal exhaustion, or it could lead to things like insulin resistance or full-on diabetes, because these stress hormones do take their toll. And historically speaking, the stress hormones were meant to help us survive. So they do have a purpose. But in our modern Western lifestyles, we unfortunately are overdoing it with the stress hormones, and we're not giving our bodies that break. And we're seeing the result of this with chronic disease. So chronic stress will definitely lead to chronic disease. And it's just a matter of time and how it shows up for you. And so it's very important for you to be aware of what are the thoughts that you're thinking, because the thoughts that we think lead to our feelings, and those feelings lead to our actions, and those actions lead to our results. And it really is just that simple. And if you start examining each piece of that and seeing, okay, so when this situation pops up for me, so when this thing happens at work, or when my partner comes and talks to me in this manner, or when my kids act in a certain way, what are the thoughts that I'm thinking that then create that feeling that then creates the stress response? And figuring that piece out doesn't take a lot of effort or education or whatever. It's not rocket science, but it does take a little bit of dedication to really, digging a little deeper and uncovering what are those things that are going on in your head. What are those thoughts? What are those patterns? How have we been going through our life so unconsciously and so on autopilot that we've created this life that we consider now stressful? But the fact that we created it means that we can uncreate it and we can create something new too. So again, like, these Wellness Illuminated episodes are not deep dives. They are quick little episodes to give you tips and to bring you little ahas, and little awarenesses to help you think just a little bit different about your body, about your life, about the possibilities. And so if you're having, let's say you're even going through something acute like a cold or a flu, or right now in the US, we're actually having an uptick in the vid, if you will. And so, a lot of people think, oh, well, it's just this acute thing and my body will work through it and then I'll move on. And that's true. But at the same time, like, what's going on in your life and in your body that opened you up for the susceptibility so that when your immune system interacted with this virus, whether it's, a simple respiratory virus, a flu virus, RSV, or the SARS-CoV-2, what about the state of your health and your body opened you up to the susceptibility of then presenting with symptoms and your body really not being able to fight it without, being down for a couple of days. And that's something to think about because we do have immune systems. They are fantastic and they do amazing things for us. And granted, they can't be superheroes all the time, but you might know some people in your life that are never sick. How come they're never sick, but maybe, someone or you're that person that gets sick like clockwork every time the seasons change, or like every fall or every winter, or like whatever it is, it's something that you can count on. Is that something that you've just been telling yourself? I mean, yes, you see it true and it manifests for you in a physical way, but is it because it's a mantra that you've been thinking for years and years and years, maybe even since you were a kid? Or maybe it's a thought you picked up from your parents because that's your parents' habit. You've taken it on for yourself and you've made it part of now your habit and your life, and you didn't even realize it. So these are examples of the mind-body connection, that our thoughts do matter. What we tell ourselves does matter, because a lot of what we tell ourselves becomes self-fulfilling prophecies. And this can all, again, be traced back to cellular health. How is our body reacting to the stress that we bring on ourselves by the thoughts that we think? So I want to bring this quick little episode to a close, and I want you to think about the interconnectedness of your entire body and what a phenomenal, amazing thing that is, and how powerful that can be, that everything in your body is connected. Your cellular health is crucial to your overall health, and your mind and your body are really inseparable, that your thoughts and emotions have a tangible impact on your physical health. And knowing that you have the power to change that, you have the power to create what you want out of that. And so if there's anything in this episode that you want to have a deep dive on, definitely let me know in the comments wherever you listen to this episode. Almost all the platforms allow you to leave comments, but you can find me on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Podcast Addict, all of the platforms out there I'm on. So leave me a comment, leave me a question if you want to hear something specific, different. I am always here to serve you and provide you the information and the tools that you need to make your life amazing. And so thank you, and we will catch you on the next episode.